So here we are, the coronavirus, the COVID-19 pandemic continues, and it would not be unusual if you're feeling a little anxious. The future is uncertain, we don't know how long the quarantining process is going to continue, and in this situation, feeling anxious is actually quite helpful. There are a lot of situations where feeling anxious, feeling anxiety is helpful. If you're about to step out in the road and the sign says don't walk, then it's a good idea to stop, to prevent yourself from walking out in traffic. If you're driving and the traffic light changes from red to orange, that's a sign of danger. We need to put the brakes on and not go out into the intersection. Similarly, if someone is standing too close to us, they're not practicing effective physical distancing, if they're not keeping away 6 feet from us, then it's a good idea to feel anxious, that we might politely tell them to move back, or we might move away from them ourselves. And we're only going to do that if we feel afraid in that situation. So I'm Dr. David Murphy. I'm speaking to you again from Leamington, Ontario. I'm a physician and I'm a psychotherapist. And I want to talk today more about anxiety and anxiousness. So a little bit of anxiety in these situations is helpful, but feeling overwhelmed by feeling anxious or anxiety is not helpful. So what I'd like to do is to teach you an activity today that will help you to reduce the anxiety level down to an acceptable level. Because if you feel anxious at anxious at a 1 or a 2, that's going to be exactly the same message as feeling anxious at a 9 or a 10. The problem is if we feel anxious at a 9 or 10, we're likely to freeze, we're likely to stop thinking, whereas if our anxiety is down at a 1 or 2, we can continue thinking, we can continue to make decisions, we might ask that person to step back politely, or we might move away from them instead of being frozen in panic. So I want to teach you an activity today that will help you to reduce the level of anxiety to an acceptable level, to a level that will be helpful rather than unhelpful. And it's really straightforward. It really doesn't take very long. So first of all, just practice the heart breathing. Just put one hand over the other hand over that, and start to breathe slowly. If you're starting to feel overwhelmed, it's a good idea when you start to notice the overwhelmed feeling picking up and starting to turn up, start to turn it down again, almost like a dimmer switch. Putting your hands over your heart and start to breathe slowly, making that out breath slightly longer than the in breath. A nice slow, easy in breath and a slow out breath starts to send that calming message to the brain. So already you'll start to feel less overwhelmed. And then what you need to do as a way of distancing yourself from the physical sensations in the chest or the stomach. When people feel anxious, they sometimes feel like a knot in their stomach or a pressure on their chest. We need to be able to distance ourselves from those physical sensations by focusing our attention on the outside world. And you can do this right now, wherever you are. I would like you to start to notice 5 things you can see and then comment out on them out loud. So I might say, I see a window. I see a desk. I see a light. I see a computer. I see a notice board. So say that out loud. If you're in a public place, you can do it in your mind's voice, just internally. It'll have the same effect. So describe 5 things that you can see. And now go on to describing 5 things you can hear. And even if you're in what appears to be a quiet room, you'll still be able to notice 5 things you can hear. For instance, I can hear my clock ticking. I can hear the faint whir on my computer. I can hear the trees rustling outside. Just hear a car driving by. So notice 5 things you can hear and say that out loud. I can hear the car. I can hear a noise of a fan. I can hear a clock. Say them out loud. Again, if you're in a public place with other people and don't feel comfortable doing that, just say it in your mind's voice. Now notice 5 things you can touch and feel. Now I can feel my hands on my chest. I can feel my butt where it's making contact with the chair I'm sitting on. I can feel the shirt that I'm wearing on my skin. There's a slight movement of air in the room right now. I can feel the air moving on my face. So notice and say in your inner or outer voice 5 things that you can touch and feel. And now go back to things that you can see. Notice 4 things that you can see. It could be the same ones or different ones. And then 4 things you can hear. Again, it could be the same or different. As you pause to hear, you might start to notice even more going on around you. Comment on them. Say, I hear the clock ticking, and so on. And then notice 4 things you can touch and feel. Again, the same, different, it doesn't matter. You can reach out and touch something. And then 3 things you can see, 3 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch and feel. And then 2 things you can see, 2 things you can hear, 2 things you can touch and feel. And then just 1 item. 1 item you can see, 1 item you can hear, and 1 item you can touch and feel. So in just a few minutes, you'll have paid attention to 75 different separate items of external sensory information, which will take you away, which will give you distancing from those physical sensations, allow your brain and your mind and your body to calm, to get that anxiety level down to just what you need in order just enough to feel safe and secure, to take action, to take care of yourself, keep yourself safe, keep yourself distant. It might make you think twice about going out when you really don't need to go out. We're all being asked to stay home right now. Perhaps then you can start to think about ways of keeping in touch with friends, with family, with video conferencing, with other forms of social networks. Make a phone call. Make connections. That's an important part of staying sound and safe and calm and relaxed. Keep in touch with others. So I'm Dr. David Murphy. If you want to learn more or contact me, my website is drdavidmurphy.ca, drdavidmurphy.ca. If you're watching on Facebook, please like my Facebook page so you can get updates. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel again so you can get updates. I will talk to you again soon. This is Dr. David Murphy. Goodbye for now.